Sing your song.
Olay, 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 olay. Happy fuck, Bad Judge's Day. Shit is fucked up and stuff. Shit is fucked up and stuff. Olay! Alright, I'm here in the city of Covington. Yeah! Where the mayor has resigned suddenly after a slurry of allegations of check fraud. And then, just recently, the judge got arrested too! Yay! Yay! All charges are just allegations. No one has been adjudicated yet. But it's always a good thing when government has to go through the same process that they thrust upon us. Yay! Woo! Yay! It's so much fun when the government has to do it. Yay! Woo!
That's a good one with Otto the Watchdog. Hey, check this out. So the Mississippi Department of Corrections calls it justice. We call it business. In a state where locked boxes cost $50 and go uninstalled, prisoners are dying in the dark, while the same names keep cashing checks. Federal investigators say Mississippi's prisons are unconstitutional, violent, corrupt, and deliberately indifferent. And the trail of money explains why. This expose coming later today rips the lid off a $300 million machine that turns human lives into revenue streams, from global Tellink's prison phones to commissary monopolies, and no-bid contracts handed to political insiders. It's not incompetence, it's design. Stay tuned to this channel and We the People News for the full investigation. Mississippi's constitutional crisis. The price of injustice. Coming soon, later today, from We the People News. And this right here is just the beginning. What's about to come later and the evidence is going to top it all. Enjoy this.
Good afternoon, I'm Don Matthews with We the People News. Today, I'm going to tell you about a phone call that exposed the rot at the heart of Mississippi's prison system. Not the kind you can smell, not the kind that makes headlines when prisoners die from neglect, though that happens too. This is a different kind of decay, the kind that happens when the people we trust to run our prisons decide prisoner rights are negotiable, optional, inconvenient. On October 22nd at 3:38 in the afternoon, I made 2 phone calls to the Mississippi Department of Corrections. By 3:41, I had recorded evidence of how a government office protects itself when confronted with constitutional violations it doesn't want to fix. What you're going to hear isn't just bureaucratic incompetence. It's the sound of a system that is learned through practice, through repetition, through years of getting away with it. How to look like it's doing something while doing nothing. This is the story of a missing box. A metal box that costs maybe $50 and takes 20 minutes to install. The absence of that box enables abuse, silences victims, and makes the Constitution disappear behind prison walls. I've been investigating conditions at the Delta Correctional Facility for weeks. One problem kept coming up. Prisoners at Delta have no way to file grievances confidentially, no way to request legal help without a guard watching, no way to report abuse without handing the complaint directly to the people they're complaining about. That's a constitutional violation. The Supreme Court said in 1977, in Bounds v. Smith, prisoners retain the right to access the courts. In Farmer v. Brennan, prison officials can't be deliberately indifferent to known risk of serious harm. I called the commissioner's office.
Yes, ma'am. Can I speak with the commissioner's
Got
office?
a woman who said,
"This is the commissioner's office, sir. How can we help you?"
and I told her everything. The missing boxes, the broken procedures, the fear of retaliation. I laid it out, point by point.
I was calling to speak to somebody about the Delta Correctional Facility. I've got a friend in there. I don't want to actually disclose that person's name because they're afraid of retaliation if that were to happen. But they do not have any type of ILAP designated program over there. She said that the woman sometimes will come by on a Friday. There's no ILAP box. That's I know because I'm very well knowledgeable in the legal field when it comes to that. It's in y'all's policy, and it's a constitutional right that is being infringed upon with that. And something needs to be done. She said there's no box so people can put things in advance.
When I finished, she said,
Grievance procedure as far as...
Hold just a moment. This is the switchboard. Hold.
Well, that's why I asked for the commissioner. Jesus, you said it was the commissioner's office. Waste my time.
she told me explicitly, this is the commissioner's office. After listening to documented constitutional violations for over a minute, her response was to send me to the commissioner's office. And that's where the first call ended.
You've reached the voicemail.
Routed to voicemail. A detailed report of systematic constitutional violations delivered to the appropriate office, acknowledged and redirected into bureaucratic void. This wasn't confusion. This
So I
was the
guess that
system
Radiant
working exactly
doesn't-
as designed.
hey,
Absorb
it's
the
just
complaint.
asleep at the wheel, huh? Another sheep.
Acknowledge
Doesn't
just
see
enough
what
to
goes
seem
on a
responsive.
daily basis. People
Then
turning a
make
blind
sure
eye.
it never reaches anyone with the authority or willingness to do anything about it. I called back. 3 minutes later, 3:41 p.m.
Department of Commission.
Yes, ma'am. So here's how we're going to do it now. I asked for the commissioner's office. You could have told me that you could have sent me there, but you said you were the commissioner's office. And I go through that long spiel to find out I wasted my time. So this is Don Matthews with We. No, listen to me. Listen to me. I'm with We the People News. I'm with We the People News, and I'm going to run an article on this. If Thurl Kane does not get on the phone with me or call me back before 5 o'clock, I'm going to run an article.
Watch what happens when you add accountability to the equation. The same office that had me to voicemail suddenly started engaging. Warmly. Not enthusiastically, but substantively. Because now there was a deadline.
Commissioner King's office.
Yes, ma'am. Who am I speaking with?
This is Commissioner Kane's office. How can I help you?
I know. I asked who I was speaking with. I just had a very unpleasant conversation on the phone. Who am I speaking with?
Who'd you have an unpleasant conversation with?
So you can't say who this is with the commissioner's office?
This is the commissioner's office. I don't give you my name.
All right. Sure. Well, this is Don Matthews with We the People News. I'm actually preparing and run a story on something that's happening at the Delta Correctional Facility. And then the indifference that I was just showed on the phone by the lady at who picked up the phone, I asked for the commissioner's office. And you know what she told me? She said, this is the commissioner's office. So I go through the spill on everything that happened just for her at the end to cut me off and say, I need to send you to the commissioner's office. I'm just so she wasted my time.
Now there was public exposure. Now there were consequences. The woman asked,
Are you a news reporter, Dan?
I sure am. I'm an investigative journalist.
That's threat assessment. That's an institution calculating what level of response is required. That calculation tells you everything about what motivates government action, not the severity of the constitutional violation, but the potential for public embarrassment. I told her everything.
I was calling actually because I've got reports of at the Delta Correctional Facility that their ILAP procedure is completely broken. That a guard, a lady will come by, and it's not even every Friday, it's just occasionally. Said there's no box to put ILAP forms in. There's no way, there's not even a box for them to drop a grievance on guards. It's something that has to basically get turned into a guard. There's no mailbox for them to drop mail in. They give the mail to the guard at nighttime. I don't know if that's, honestly, I don't know about the mail. That may be all right if that's y'all's procedure. But well, I know the ILAP, I know that's a constitutional right. I know that's a prisoner's right to have access. And I know that y'all actually have it codified in a policy.
The missing ILAP boxes. That's Inmate Legal Assistance Program. The absent grievance boxes. The mail system, where prisoners have to hand everything directly to guards. The fear of retaliation so pervasive that even people who haven't personally experienced problems are afraid to speak up. I got a different response.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to send you to our communication.
You're cutting in and out. What'd you say?
Yeah, because I can barely hear you. It looks like you're driving in a car. I'm going to send you to our communication person that sits across from me. She's the one that's going to be able to, I can't really comment on it. Hold on.
I'm going to send you to our communications department. Not investigation.
Hey, thank you for that $2, Frankie.
Not immediate corrective action, but public
Much
relations.
love.
I stopped her.
No, listen. I wasn't calling asking you for comment. I was calling to report an issue.
Yeah,
and I would like to know that the commissioner's office is looking into that, because that's something that...
I'm going to have them look into the ILAP procedure over at Delta Correctional. It's not being done properly. I wrote it down already, so I will highlight it.
Right. And that's what I wanted to hear, okay? That's what the people need to hear, is that y'all are going to look into that problem and not just ignore it.
I don't know if it's an issue or not, but I will have someone look into it.
And like I said, the mail and reporting a grievance. No, and she specifically told me that there was no specific guard. She's never had any issues over there. But she also doesn't want to be retaliated against for reporting something. She's missed ILAP basically every time.
So the ILAP procedure, there's no box. They have to hand it to an actual correctional officer. Is that what you're saying? And they're the ones that have to deliver it. Okay, that's what you're hearing.
Right.
That's what I do. I'm going to have someone look into it because I can't see what's going on at Delta Correctional.
No, I get it. You're more or less turning it political from the standpoint of looking at it. You're having to defend. I'm not asking you to defend. I'm not putting you on any kind of... I'm not pointing any accusation.
I'm going to hand it off to somebody that will actually be looking into it.
I want to talk to Burl Kane.
He's not in the office right now.
Well, that's the thing. I would sure love to talk to... talking to Burl Kane would definitely put this issue to rest.
Well, I'll pass him the message that you want to speak to him, but he's not in the office right now. But I wrote your number down. If he wants to speak to you, he'll call you back. But in the meantime, I will have this issue looked into and make sure that everything is done to protocol.
All right, sounds good.
I was calling to report an issue. And finally, I got something resembling commitment. I'll have them look into the ILAP procedure over at Delta Correctional, she said. Not investigate, not fix, just look into. It's not uncertainty. That's plausible deniability. That's leaving yourself room to do nothing while appearing concerned. My source. She's incarcerated at Delta Correctional Facility. She's never had problems with guards. No disciplinary issues. No personal grievances. She's not some troublemaker looking to cause problems. She's someone trying to survive her sentence and get home. And she's terrified to have her name attached to this report. Why? Because everyone knows that speaking up inside a prison carries consequences. Even when you're telling the truth, you know what that fear is? It's evidence. It testifies to the institutional culture at Delta Correctional Facility, more reliably than any policy manual would. When the commissioner's office representative understood, she asked,
So the ILAP procedure, there's no box, they have to hand it to an actual correctional officer. Is that what you're saying? And they're
imagine you need to file a complaint about a guard. Maybe he's confiscated your legal materials. Maybe he's been verbally abusive. Maybe you witnessed him beat another inmate. You have the constitutional right to file a grievance. Mississippi Department of Corrections policy, the Supreme Court, says so. But there's no box, no confidential submission system, no way to file without walking up to a guard, maybe the guard you're complaining about, certainly a guard who works with the guard you're complaining about, and handing it over while he watches, while he reads,
I'm Don Matthews.
while he decides what happens next. That's not a grievance system. That's a retaliation mechanism. I asked the questions that should embarrass every official at Mississippi Department of Corrections.
All the money y'all pull in, y'all can't afford boxes at the units.
I can't comment on it. I don't know what's happening with the ILAP procedure out there. I have to have someone look into it.
Metal boxes with locks. Maybe $50 each. 20-minute installation. 0 ongoing maintenance. The absence of these boxes cannot be explained by budget constraints. It can only be explained by institutional choice. Many someones decided that functional grievance systems are not a priority, that prisoner complaints are nuisances to be managed, not addressed. Near the end of our conversation, I said I want to speak to Commissioner Earl Kane, Commissioner of the Mississippi Department of Corrections, the man ultimately responsible for constitutional compliance at every facility under Mississippi Department of Corrections supervision. The person who should be most concerned when systematic violations are documented. The response: he's not in the office right now. The article would run with or without Commissioner Kane's response. 5 o'clock came and went. No call. No follow-up. No statement from Commissioner Kane's office. Just silence that communicates institutional priorities.
I got you. I'll get that right now.
Louder than any press release could. I'm not making moral arguments here. I'm not appealing to compassion or decency. I'm talking about constitutional law. Binding Supreme Court precedent. Requirements. In 1977, the Supreme Court decided Bounds versus Smith. They held that prisoners must have meaningful access to the courts, not theoretical access, not access in policy manuals, but meaningful, functional, realistic access. In 1996, Lewis versus Casey refined that standard. The court said prison officials can't erect procedural barriers to nullify access rights. When the only way to file a legal request is to hand it to a guard who might view your legal sophistication as a threat, that's not meaningful access. That's procedural barrier designed to discourage exercise of constitutional rights. In 1994, Farmer v. Brennan established the deliberate indifference standard. Prison officials violate the Eighth Amendment when they know about substantial risk of serious harm and do nothing. As of October 22nd, 3:41 p.m., Commissioner Burl Cain's office received documentation. They acknowledged the problem. They promised to look into it. Every day, they failed to fix it. Every day, those boxes remain absent. The indifference becomes more deliberate. The violation becomes more flagrant. And here's the thing that should concern every Mississippian. Mississippi Department of Corrections has its own internal policy requiring this stuff. Policy 20-0-8, Administrative Remedy Program, mandates accessible, confidential grievance procedures. So this isn't about MDOC disagreeing with constitutional requirements. They've acknowledged them. They've written them into internal policy. They just don't implement them. The policy exists to create plausible deniability. When sued, Mississippi Department of Corrections can point to policy 20-0-8 and say, see, we have procedures. But policy without implementation is fiction. It's a document that protects the institution while abandoning the prisoners. Delta Correctional Facility isn't unique. You remember Parchman? Where they sent me? Mississippi State Penitentiary? The place that made national headlines for conditions so horrific. Federal courts had to intervene. Where prisoners died from neglect, violence, and systematic indifference. Those weren't isolated incidents. They were symptoms of systemic MDOC dysfunction. And when Parchman got too much attention, when federal oversight became unavoidable, you know what happened? The problems didn't disappear. They migrated to quieter facilities like Delta that don't attract headlines, locations where violations can continue without the inconvenience of federal monitors and consent decrees. That's sophisticated institutional strategy.
Hello, Christine.
When
Welcome
one
to the stream.
facility faces scrutiny, you don't fix the system. You move the problem somewhere less visible. This is why my source's fear matters so much. She's at Delta, not Parchman. She has no personal grievances, but she knows, everyone inside knows, that the same culture of retaliation and suppression exists It's just quieter, more procedural, hidden behind absent boxes and missing infrastructure, rather than visible violence. During my call with the commissioner's office, the representative kept saying, "I can't see what's going on at Delta. I have to have someone look into it." That's willful blindness, codified as policy. The commissioner's office doesn't know about constitutional violations because knowing would require acting. But here's what they can't claim anymore. They can't say they don't know. I told them in detail on recorded calls with legal citations, policy references, and specific factual allegations. The ignorance defense died at 3:41 in the afternoon, October 22nd. Let me bring this back to what it means. Not legal theory, not policy analysis, but lived human reality. Right now, today, there's a man or woman at Delta Correctional Facility who needs to file a grievance. They know they have rights. They read them in the inmate handbook. They've seen the policy posted on bulletin boards. They can file a grievance. But when they try, they confront the reality. These phone calls document there is no box. So they have two options. Both of them terrible. Option one is to walk up to a guard, hand over their grievance, watch the guard read it, watch the guard's face change as he realizes this prisoner thinks they have rights. 100 small ways to make life worse, none officially connected to that grievance. Option two, say nothing. Swallow the injustice. Accept that rights exist in theory, but not in practice. Become complicit in their own silencing. This is the choice absent boxes create. This is what constitutional violations look like in human terms. And here's the cruelest part. Every prisoner who chooses silence teaches the next prisoner that silence is safer. The system becomes self-perpetuating. The violation suppress the reporting mechanism.
100%. Just wait till you see this
The
report that I'm
absent
releasing
reporting
later today.
mechanism enables more violations. It's abuse architecture. Brilliantly simple. Devastatingly effective. $50. That's what a locked metal grievance box costs. $50.
Couldn't agree more, Joseph.
20 minutes installation.
Fuck politics.
MDOC's
Republican,
annual
Democrat,
budget
they're still controlled.
is over $300 million a year. Commissioner Kane's salary alone could buy thousands of these boxes. The cost is not the barrier. The only explanation that makes sense is that many benefit from the boxes not existing. Guards benefit. Without secure submission, they control which grievances get processed. That gives them power beyond formal authority. The prisoner must calculate, will this guard submit my grievance? Will he retaliate? Will he tell other guards I'm a troublemaker? That discretion is a management tool. Without functional grievance systems, problems don't generate documentation. Low grievance numbers can be presented as evidence that everything's fine. Facilities are well managed. Prisoners are content. MDOC benefits. Every processed grievance creates paperwork. Investigation obligations. Response requirements. Appeal procedures. Potential legal exposure. It's easier to ensure grievances aren't filed than to process them properly. The institutional path of least resistance leads toward suppression rather than resolution. Who pays? The citizens of Mississippi whose tax dollars fund unconstitutional conditions. The Constitution becomes meaningless when its protections can be nullified by strategic infrastructure denial. I've done my job. I've documented the violations, recorded the institutional response, the rot. I've published the evidence. Now it's time for others. Commissioner Burl Cain needs to respond, not through a spokesperson, but personally, on the record, explaining what's happening at Delta Correctional Facility. To do. He has my number since October 22nd. The question is whether Mississippi's top correctional official cares enough about constitutional compliance to pick up the telephone. Civil rights attorneys need to look at the documented violations, the absent boxes, the suppressed grievance access, the institutional indifference captured on recorded calls. That's the foundation for federal civil rights litigation. 42 U.S. Code Section 1983. Civil action for deprivation of rights. The Department of Justice Civil Rights Division should investigate not just Delta, but the entire Mississippi Department of Corrections system.
And it's a lot larger than
suggests
Mississippi,
statewide
folks, let me tell you.
systematic failure. Constitutional rights don't stop at the prison gate. Prisoners are citizens, still human beings, still protected by the same founding document that protects all of us. When we allow the government to violate prisoner rights with impunity, we're not just harming them. We're weakening the constitutional framework that protects everyone.
Saw somebody
Without
say
boxes
something about
to
writing a
submit
book.
grievances confidentially.
Hang around right here.
Without
I'm going to
ILAP
actually
request mechanisms
throw in a bonus right here
that don't require
because
guard approval.
that's nearing complete.
Without
That's
mail
nearing
systems
release.
that don't route everything through custody staff. Without the infrastructure that makes rights functional, those protections become constitutional fiction. Pretty words with no practical meaning. Delta's answer seems to be no. The right doesn't exist in any meaningful sense. It exists as appearance, as plausible deniability, but not a lived reality. The Constitution's answer is different. Because if we accept that government can acknowledge rights while ensuring they cannot be safely exercised, then we've accepted that rights are optional, negotiable, subject to institutional convenience. And once you establish that principle for prisoners, the most politically powerless people in our society, how long before it expands? This story doesn't end with 2 phone calls and an article. It ends when those boxes get installed. When prisoners can file grievances without fear. And not just there, but every prison under MDOC supervision.
I've got an explosive
When the
stack of
Constitution
evidence
stops
right
being
here
optional behind
from when I was
prison
there,
walls.
Sergeant.
Until then, I'll keep reporting, documenting. I'll keep holding up the mirror until the people of Mississippi see exactly what their corrections system has become. Because that's my job. Exposing the rot, documenting the failures, demanding accountability from institutions that would
Hey,
rather
thank you for the
operate in
likes, for the
darkness.
comments.
The phone
this
calls
message shared.
exposed the rot.
The big story
Now
is
it's
coming later
time to
today.
see if Mississippi has
Hang on
the
here for a
political
second and listen
will
to
to clean it out.
first part of my new
I'm Don
podcast,
Matthews.
Rico Tapes.
With We the People News. And I'm not done asking questions. Thank you for tuning in. Share this message.
So, in my hand, I've got a comprehensive package reporting this stuff in detail. Back in December of 2024, to the Commissioner, Earl Kane, I put it in the hands of Kelly Christensen, or whatever the deputy commissioner was. They've gotten plenty of notice of their violations, and this is deliberate. The deliberate indifferent test, this evidence shreds any defense that they have on this. I would like to get in touch with Mike Crosby, attorney Mike Crosby from Gulfport, Mississippi, because I'll lay it all out on a crystal platter. I am a defendant right here in this because of what just recently happened. And I know a bunch that are right now in the system that are experiencing all of this. Saw several things about writing a book. Well, I've got a podcast called The Rico Tapes, and I've also got a book called American Injustice. American Injustice, I'm making sure to annotate everything, because I believe a book like that exposes corruption on such a deep level has to be meticulously annotated, or else people are going to say, oh, he's a conspiracy theorist. No, it has to be fact by fact, backed up with evidence, and that's exactly what I'm doing with American Injustice. This is where everything started with the Rico tapes. This is what started the 8 years of fucking hell on earth from the corruption that's happened. It'll help give you a better idea of why things have gotten to this point. Go to WTPnews.org. See what's going on right now with the federal court system out of Louisiana. This is national news, what they are doing. They know it's a big deal. I've got trial in December for a federal charge, a petty charge, for protesting outside of the federal courthouse when I found out the U.S. Marshals had run illegal surveillance and circulated bolos on me. I got the FOIAs from Washington, D.C., published it, protested, led to this. But here's where everything started with the Rico tapes. Here's what's going to be the cornerstone of this book, American Injustice as well.
May 2008. The name Camp Devil Dog might sound like something out of a war movie. But to us, it was just another Marine Corps training base. An isolated post where the days blended into one another. And air carried the smell of sweat, dust, and gun oil. And the rules were as much a part of life as breathing. On that particular night, I was assigned to a roving post. Roving meant motion. You moved through your assigned area in regular intervals, stopping at checkpoints, scanning for anything out of place. In training environments, the most dangerous thing you usually encountered was boredom. But boredom wasn't on the schedule that night. The Marine assigned to us Armory Watch was Lance Corporal Bradley Faust. He wasn't particularly outspoken, not someone you'd pick out in a crowd, but not invisible either. Like many of us, he carried burdens that weren't visible on the surface. As Armory Watch, he had access to the weapons. That's what the position meant. It was a responsibility that the Corps took seriously, entrusting Marines with guarding the very tools of our profession. The night air was still, punctuated only by the occasional call of distant wildlife and the familiar sounds of a military base at night, generators humming, the occasional vehicle passing, boots on the gravel as Marines moved between posts. I had just completed my check of the eastern perimeter when it happened. No one saw it coming. No warning signs that night. No whispered confessions. Just the sound, that unmistakable sound of an M16 set to 3-round burst. In training environments, gunfire was tightly controlled. Live rounds at that hour in that place were never part of the plan. Not only was I close enough to hear it, but I was also close enough to see it. Close enough to get there quickly, but not quickly enough. The scene was something you don't forget. The way the human body collapses when it's no longer alive. The smell of cordite in the air. The weapon still near his hand. The armory racks standing silently behind him, like mute witnesses. Lance Corporal Bradley Faust had made a decision from which there was no return. Within hours, the officers were there. Not just the on-duty supervisors, but higher-ranking men whose boots didn't usually touch the concrete outside their offices. They took control, ordered Marines back to their quarters, and secured the scene. The base became a flurry of activity. Medical personnel, military police, chaplains moving with purpose through spaces usually defined by routine and order. When the paperwork was done, it said training accident. That label carried weight. It wasn't just semantics. A suicide could mean loss of death benefits for Faust's family. A training accident could preserve them. At least that was the justification we were given. But in labeling it that way, they'd also rewritten reality. I watched as they sanitized the scene, not just of physical evidence, but of truth itself. The official narrative began to take shape before Faust's body had even been removed. A narrative that would protect the institution at the expense of honesty. Senior officers spoke in hushed tones about unfortunate incidents and operational security. Phrases that served to distance everyone from what had actually happened. A Marine, one of our own, had taken his life while on duty. That was the first time I saw how truth could be edited. How the official truth could be made to serve an agenda. In the days that followed, we weren't encouraged to discuss what happened. Faust's personal effects disappeared from his quarters. His name became something mentioned only in whispers. The machinery of institutional self-preservation moved with remarkable efficiency, transforming a suicide into an accident, a personal tragedy into an administrative inconvenience. I stayed in the Corps after that, but I wasn't the same. That night planted something in me. A distrust, a refusal to take official statements at face value. I began to notice other instances where reality was adjusted to fit preferred narratives. Small at first, then increasingly significant. Training incidents where safety violations were downplayed. Disciplinary actions that seemed more about protecting certain individuals than maintaining standards. Equipment failures attributed to operator error rather than maintenance deficiencies. By 2011, I was discharged. The paperwork said alcohol rehabilitation failure. The Corps made it sound like the drinking was the disease, but I knew better. The drinking was just a bandage on something deeper, PTSD, though I couldn't get it recognized because the incident that triggered it didn't officially exist as a suicide. The system that had rewritten Bradley Faust's death was equally efficient at reframing my struggles as simple misconduct, rather than the consequence of witnessing something that had shaken my faith in the institution I'd committed to serve. Years passed. The memory didn't. One day, I decided to push back. I filed a Freedom of Information Act request, not just for closure, but for proof. I wanted the records on that night, the internal communications, the after-action reports. If the Corps had quietly changed its standard operating procedures because of what had happened, I wanted it in writing, and I got it. Buried in the pages was the change. No more live ammunition for Armory Watch at Marine Corps training facilities. It was an unspoken admission that the training accident wasn't an accident at all. The policy change acknowledged what the official record denied. That Lance Corporal Bradley Faust had died by suicide, and that the circumstances that allowed it needed to be prevented in the future. That FOIA request didn't go unnoticed. Emails started showing up. Some were straightforward denials of certain documents. Others felt more personal. Some carried undertones, the kind you recognize if you dealt with people in power who want you to stop digging. They weren't random. The names tied back to people with connections. Law enforcement, political figures, individuals who on paper had no reason to care about my FOIA request regarding a Marine who had died years earlier at a training facility far from Mississippi. By May 2017, the pressure wasn't just coming from the shadows.
There's no need to
open.
Yes, it's a
Political
fact.
shift.
100%. They're watching.
The state flag, the Mississippi flag, had been removed from city property. That wasn't done by accident or slow bureaucratic erosion. It was the result of a push led by then Board of Aldermen member Robin Tannehill. She authored the referendum. The board approved. The mayor signed off. And in a matter of days, something that had flown over city property for generations was gone. Now Tannehill was running for mayor, unopposed. Election day was set for June 6, 2017. That spring, I took my protest to the public square. I didn't carry the American flag. I carried the Mississippi state flag, the one they'd taken down as a direct statement. I believed in the right to speak out, the right to dissent, the right to be visible. That's what the First Amendment is for. On May 1st, 2017, I crossed paths with Lafayette County Sheriff's Deputy Timmy Pruitt. He wasn't wearing his badge, just the blank space on his uniform where it should have been. That absence spoke volumes before he even said a word. The encounter was brief, but heated. I asserted my rights. He gave me an order to leave. I asked on what ground to jail. Moments later, he made good on that threat. The arrest was caught on camera. That video spread fast, shared by large platforms and pages that reached audiences far beyond Lafayette County. The public reaction was swift and overwhelmingly in my favor. Pruitt's actions were criticized loudly and often. Though some called it a vacation, while county officials decided how to handle the fallout. But the timing was no coincidence. While I was being arrested, my ex, Phyllis Liz Crowder, and her attorney were in Lafayette County Chancery Court filing papers to block me from seeing or speaking to my only child at the time, my daughter Lydia. One hand held the cuffs, while they robbed me of my rights as a father. The rest of May was a steady escalation. The protest didn't stop. The legal moves against me intensified. The email threats kept coming. Surveillance became harder to ignore. The city's political machinery was engaged, and I was in its direct path. On May 26th, everything was in motion. The pressure, the hostility, all of it converged. And that's where my story, as you'll hear on the RICO tapes and in my book, American Injustice, begins. What happened to Lance Corporal Bradley Faust that night at Camp Devil Dog set me on a path I never anticipated. His death, officially sanitized, institutionally reframed, opened my eyes to how power operates when it believes no one's watching. The quest for truth about his suicide has led me to question other official narratives, to challenge other instances where reality was being rewritten then, that my pursuit of truth would eventually cost me my freedom, my family, and nearly a decade of my life. But looking back, I can see how that night in 2008 was truly the first domino. The moment when I began to understand that official truth
It's 100% real.
and actual truth are often
everything
separated by
that
a
I talk
gulf
about, I back
filled
up
with
with evidence.
powers, politics, and institutional self-preservation.
So that right there is the start. And that's, you know, you'll see with my story that there are multiple parties that see tremendous benefit from what happens. But everything, I believe, 100% can be tracked back to the Marine Corps. The day before I was falsely arrested, it was a completely fictitious charge in May of 2017. Literally 17 hours before, I sent a final legal demand letter to the Marine Corps threatening a lawsuit if they didn't turn over the FOIA records within 24 hours. They did. And a few hours later, I get arrested on this felony charge. This is a little teaser for American Injustice.
American Injustice. One man's battle against corruption and retaliation. This book is more than my personal story. It is a warning. It is a testament to what happens when government corruption goes unchecked, and when those in power wield the legal system as a weapon against the people they are supposed to serve. I never asked for this fight. I never sought out enemies in the government. I never imagined I would become a political prisoner in my own country. But when you challenge corruption, when you stand up to those who believe they are untouchable, they do everything in their power to silence you. I was arrested, prosecuted on false charges, exiled from my own home, and even forcibly committed to a mental institution, all because I refused to stop speaking out. This wasn't about just me. This was about the Constitution, about free speech, about the fundamental rights that every American is supposed to have. My story is proof that tyranny doesn't always come in the form of a dictator or a military coup. Sometimes it wears a badge. Sometimes it sits behind the judge's bench. Sometimes it drafts laws designed to suppress those who dare to dissent. This is my story. This is the truth they tried to bury. And this is why I'll never stop fighting. If they can do this to me, they can do it to anyone. The battle over the Mississippi state flag and the Confederate monuments had been simmering for years. But by 2016, it had erupted into a full-scale political war. Across the South, symbols of the Confederacy were being pulled down, vilified, and erased in the name of progress. To some, it was an overdue reckoning with a painful past. To others, it was a dangerous rewriting of history. For me, this fight was about something far more fundamental than statues or flags. It was about democracy, the Constitution, and the unchecked power of those in office. I never saw myself as an activist. I was a Marine Corps veteran, a journalist, and a father. My life had been shaped by discipline and duty, molded by an oath that didn't expire when I took off the uniform. That oath, to support and defend the Constitution, wasn't conditional. It wasn't subject to the changing tides of public opinion. It didn't bend to political correctness or the loudest voices in the room. So when I saw politicians and activists disregarding the will of the people, erasing history, and trampling constitutional rights in the process, I couldn't sit by and watch. I had no choice but to stand up. The deeper I got into the fight, the more I saw how little government officials actually cared about the Constitution they claimed to uphold. Transparency? A joke. Accountability? Non-existent. And the more I pushed for answers, the more resistance I faced. At first, it was just bureaucratic red tape, public records requests ignored, officials refusing to engage. But when those tactics failed to silence me, they escalated their efforts. The whispers started first. Rumors spread to discredit me, to paint me as an extremist. Then came the harassment, the intimidation. They wanted me to back down. But nothing could have prepared me for what came next. Looking back, I see 2017 as the turning point. That was the year my activism transformed into something far more dangerous, at least in the eyes of those in power. That was when I became a true threat to the system. And that was when they decided to destroy me.
So that's the teaser, the beginning of the book. I've got several ways to get the story of all the things that have happened out there. I've got an album called Bad Actors that I've written every song on the album. It's on my website, wtpnews.org. You should go over there and check it out. I'm not trying to, basically I did all that because I wanted different avenues to get what happened out there. You got some people they learn better from listening. You got some people that learn better from watching, from reading. All right. So I wanted to make sure I could put something out there where it basically applied to everybody. I was sitting there. There we go. So I didn't have my external hard drive to actually pull the one that's not on YouTube. But this then gets into, the beginning of the story. This is a documentary, Riding with the Outlaw, that I started doing. I've done 5 1-hour episodes of it. This is where this is the start. The second episode is about the false rape accusation from my ex. That, truth came out. It was all a conspired upon plot. She got charged with filing a false report of rape. And corrupt judge let her off the hook with just a fine. And actually held me for contempt for telling him that he created a monster. You got the third one, which is about the Department of Justice scandal. The U.S. Attorney's Office, particularly blowhard Bob Norman. You got the fourth one, which is about the lies. It's about the horrible arrest in 2020, following the direction of another state agency and the sheriff's department. Violently arrest me and lie their ass off in court, and it's shown crystal clear. And then more recently, I did the fifth one, which is about they 5150'd me when I discovered records changed in Lafayette County Circuit Court, and I went in there to ask how the records could have been changed. So check this out.
Big news here in Mississippi. The jokesters that were elected as our state representatives decided to bypass a vote to win went straight for the jugular to remove the state flag of Mississippi. My thing that I've said from the beginning is that if it goes to a vote, and if the overwhelming majority voted in favor of a new flag, you're not going to hear me complain. Because at the end of the day,
Mr. Mayor, I want to speak
my
out on
statement
the
has
state
always
flag.
been
Like I
about
said.
our constitutional rights. Okay? The rights that are afforded to us as citizens. It's not about us stars and bars. It's about the will of the people.
Sure, but this is the taxpayers'
Second, that
house. They have a right to speak. You
the
have
vote of the
absolutely
people
no
doesn't
right
matter.
to say that they can't speak.
And you have elected officials that are making controversial moves that are ignoring that which the people vote for.
You're a cultural Marxist. Every
Just spelled
single
out
one
an
of you
epic
sitting there are
disaster
cultural Marxists
for society.
who vote
Because it
to
sets
keep the flag
precedents.
down.
And only bad things can come from it. Don't want to hear about one of the nastiest public corruption scandals. And what's crazy is I've literally mapped this thing out. Called every single phase of what's going on right now in advance. Because I knew it happened. And you've got agencies that are obstructing justice, destroying evidence, and turning a blind eye. Shoveling proof of innocence
Jared Bundren,
and shielding criminal activity.
hey, I'm here to show you how
That's
to conduct
going
a
on in our
proper
very
investigation. You received a call on May 24th,
Heinous
2017.
corruption
I would like the details of that call.
to such a level
Why are y'all cowards? Why are y'all cowards?
to help get a female Democrat
I'm
mayor
saying
elected.
I would like to. I'm trying to ask. You said no.
Kept damning information, which would have had potentially devastating political ramifications from coming down the hopper. Her husband, the attorney of my ex, for the original child custody matter back in 2016, August of 2016. It was that time that my child was kept from me for approximately 2 months. It's the first extended period of absence that I took away from her. That was, she basically was used as a wedge, a negotiation tool. You got the May 1st, 2017 arrest. In front of that statue right there. Where I was holding the state flag of Mississippi. Standing on public property. Was not bothering a soul. Was not loud, nothing. Just standing on this very pavement that I'm standing right now, holding the state flag of Mississippi. But because that didn't fit the agenda of this city, the city being that it took it on itself to remove the state flag from city property, while all along taking taxpayer dollars from the state, from Jackson. My view hasn't changed on that. Never will. It's common sense. If you take state-funded tax dollars from your state, well, damn it, I think it should be an obligation that you fly the state flag. I don't think that's some far out there want and demand. May 1st, Deputy Sheriff Timmy Pruitt pulled up. He asked me if I had a permit to be here. I told him that I had the First Amendment. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I'm a patriot. I'm a 3%er. I took an oath at the end of 2007 to uphold and defend our Constitution from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. My oath had no expiration date. Nowhere in the military oath is there an expiration date that says that this oath is only good until the time of your service ends. And it's like that for a very particular reason. You see, when I took an oath back in 2007 to uphold and defend our Constitution, I swore an oath to our country and ultimately wrote a blank check to our government for an amount up to and including my life. Now, I wasn't deployed. I was never sent to a deployable squadron. In fact, I was in the air wing, and I was part of a non-deployable squadron that actually trained new pilots to fly the AV-8B Harrier and then get assigned to a gun squadron and sent overseas to drop bombs on Iraq. So I personally find my MOS and my job very crucial to the readiness of the Marine Corps and its officers to go and drop bombs on the bad guys. Okay? So I wrote a blank check to the government for an amount up to including my life. It's that reason right there alone that the oath that I took doesn't expire. So I wanted to know, and I still want to know to this day, how a city and a county has the right, feels that they have the right to supersede the Constitution, the law of the land. Because the last I knew, no law made by any city or any county ever had the effect of becoming a law and a lawful order if it directly clashed with that of the Constitution. And the First Amendment right guarantees my right to stand here on public property, whether or not I'm causing friction, whether or not I'm irritating people. It's my right, granted through the First Amendment, to have freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of the press. Just like, I'll point the camera over here, maybe y'all can see. We've got protesters over there holding signs, wanting the statue to come down. And I tell them every single time I talk to them, they have a right to be here. And honestly, they have the right to live, to be here free of harassment. You don't even need to have a permit. Shouldn't even be a requirement to have a permit. But see, that's the liberal hypocrisy, because I'll never hear that said to me. In fact, being that I'm a conservative, just the opposite. Back in May of 2017, false reports were called up there about me causing problems on the square, even though I wasn't saying anything. I was just holding a state flag, had a gun on my hip.
You know, I am audio and video reporting, Mr. Fred. I don't care. You have a permit to be here.
The First Amendment, actually.
You have a permit to be here.
No.
All right, you gotta leave.
Why is that?
Because you're going to jail if you don't.
I'm going to jail just for standing out here and holding a flag.
You have to leave.
Okay, where does that super... let me just...
One more time.
Can I just ask you... Can I ask you a question?
I'm going to ask you one more time to leave. If not, I'm going to go you to jail. This is for the conduct.
Okay, I'll leave and take this straight to my attorney then. That's you can't threaten me with my First Amendment rights. Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, Mr.
It's time for you
Pruitt.
to leave. One.
This fucking city is ass fucking backwards. Ass fucking backwards. Y'all see that? Hey, what's your badge number, by the way, Deputy Pruitt? No, I'm not. I'm leaving. I was asking you. I was asking you. I was leaving. Long story short, Deputy Pruitt said I had to leave. I didn't have a permit or I was going to face arrest. I said I was going to take the video straight to my attorney. I couldn't be threatened with my First Amendment rights. His uniform was a little bare that day. He had forgotten to put his badge back on before coming out. He took about 7 steps off and I turned around to ask him what his badge number was. That infuriated him because it made him look horrible. As if he wasn't already doing a good enough job of that himself. When he came trying to trod on a Marine Corps veteran and a patriot's rights, stand there in solitude, by myself, not even as a group, holding the state flag of Mississippi. I was arrested. When I asked him what his badge number was, it infuriated him. He took me to the jail. I maybe was in the jail for about an hour before I posted bond. I grabbed my state flag. My car was parked right here on the square still. And I decided I was going to take a victory lap and walk from the sheriff's department with my state flag back to the square. And I did a victory lap around the square, holding my state flag, proudly holding my state flag. Because I knew what I did was not wrong. And you can try to paint me into a corner and try to demonize me all you want to. Fact is, even by the sheriff's department's own admission and through multiple agencies, news agencies, I was arrested for holding the state flag on public property. The chain of events happens after that. Okay? I go to New Orleans, go stand up for the monuments under attack. I come back May 7th, May 8th. Alright? I have court the next day on a child custody hearing. I meet with my attorney for a lot of the day. I end up doing a countersuit against my ex, and I get the bright idea to go and serve her attorney with the countersuit. Oh, it was epic. Awesome. Hi, is Mona here? Mona? All right, I just wanted to say you are hereby served.
Actually, no, you have to serve it with the legal process.
Well, you're hereby served.
Hi, everybody.
Served her attorney, counterclaim. Saw them in court the next day. Just a bit of a fireworks clashing between the attorneys. Long story short, fast forward the tape then. May 15th, I had spoken out in City Hall in Oxford City Hall. The city took it on itself to remove the state flag from city property while all along taking taxpayer dollars from the state, from Jackson. My view hasn't changed on that. Never will. It's common sense. If you take state-funded tax dollars from your state, well, damn it, I think it should be an obligation that you fly the state flag. Mayor Pat Patterson refused to allow me to address the board. And just like everything else in this town, they think they got it all figured out, and so be it. For your rights. I know that the First Amendment right also grants me the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Of course, with my grievance being the Mississippi state flag being taken down on city property in Oxford. I called the mayor and each of the board of aldermen a cultural Marxist if they stood in favor of keeping the state flag down while openly taking tax dollars from the state.
What is this? Mr. Mayor, I want to speak out on the state flag, like I said. Sure, but this is the taxpayer's house. They have a right to speak. You have absolutely no right to say that they can't speak. No right. Where does that lie with you? You're a cultural Marxist. Every single one of you sitting there are cultural Marxists if you vote to keep the flag down. That is all it is. Complete cultural Marxism. I'm leaving. On it. On it. Say what I need to say.
I thought it was just an absolutely tyrannical move made by the city. So about May 19th, I was patronizing Frank and Marley's, a bar on the square, just about every day, going there drinking, because it was right across from an attorney that I was good friends with, Charles Yao. And I would go in there and I would talk to him pretty frequently about everything going on. And I would go and I would have my drinks over at Frank and Marley's. Ashley Lynch did not like me as a person. She didn't like me as a person because she didn't like me as a salesperson from before. She thought I came across too pushy. And I was no longer with that company, and I wanted to smooth things over with Ashley, so I tried to motion for her to come over to the bar where I was sitting down eating a tray of chicken wings that I had just paid for. She wouldn't come over. I said, well, I think it's only right. I'm patronizing your bar, spending money here. I'm just simply trying to smooth issues over because I don't want any issues. She refused to have any of that. And I said, well, I think that's pretty fucked up. I'm over here trying to bury the hatchet with you. I don't want any drama. She came over, she grabbed my tray of chicken wings, and she threw them in the trash can, even though I paid cash for them. Wouldn't give me a refund, anything. So I walked out of the bar, I called for a boycott of Frank and Marley's. It turned into a back and forth between us on Facebook. What I like to call a meme war. Really them with the memes. It was them that created the YouTube channel that they called a 24/7 surveillance and watch of Oxford's Matt Reardon. Huh. Who does that sound like? Stalking. And then, honestly, I'll be the first to say, I don't feel like they did anything illegal, and I certainly didn't do anything illegal. They just weren't expecting me to play right back into it and not get all offended. Me to actually have fun with it and run along with them. So that happens. I'm sent proof that there's a death threat that's been made on my life by my ex and mother of my child. Also the one coincidentally represented by the mayor's husband. So May 20th, I go and I purchase an AR-15 and a bulletproof vest, as I had every right to do, to protect myself and my family. Had a drunk stream that night. That's my biggest regret. It's during these live streams that really spurred the claims made that I was making threats on the Lynches and their business, as well as the Tannehills. And all in all, it came down to information that I was given. My child being used as a weaponized tool to court against me, kept from me, and had me very emotional. May 22nd, restraining order, emergency injunction, is filed by Ray Tannehill, who is representing his wife, Robin Tannehill, the mayor-elect, as her attorney. So, I'm hunted down the next day, May 23rd, on campus, 2 sheriff's deputies. They pull me over to give me a restraining order. The 24th, a mysterious phone call comes in to Lafayette County Sheriff's Department for Sheriff's Investigator Jared Bundard. Jared took this call where it was stated that I was making threats against Franken Marley's and Todd and Ashley Lynch. And Jared. Better off suited for a Subway commercial. Definitely not investigating a crime. I swear that man was made for Subway. What an idiot. He claims that he investigated my Facebook profile. Claims that he investigated my Facebook profile, and in that, he said that he saw proof of multiple threats. There were never any threats of physical harm, ever. In fact, I've clearly stated in all my videos, even way back then, before that I wouldn't go on the offensive. I'm there to protect myself, my family, and innocent bystanders. Those unable to defend themselves. May 25th, the next day, I meet with the FBI at the local field office here in Oxford. I meet with them for a couple of reasons. Because of the death threat that was made against me, that I had screenshots of. There's already a liberal hypocrisy like none other shown in this area. You see plenty of proof of that with Riding with the Outlaw. Plenty of proof of it. But I also met with them because I felt like my First Amendment rights had come under attack. To protect somebody coming on board as the mayor. See, I had actually done what Mayor Pat Patterson had said, even though I felt like I didn't have to, because I sure didn't want to get told I couldn't speak the next time. And I put myself on the agenda to address the Board of Aldermen on June the 6th, the next Board of Aldermen meeting. And I was slotted to speak right after Joey East. The article is in the local Voice. Well, when I got pulled over May 23rd and given the restraining order, essentially keeping me 500 feet away from the Tannehills, from Robin Tannehill, who is the whatever alderman who's going to be there because she was an alderman, it effectively barred me from speaking. So I met with the FBI about these two issues that were major issues. Coincidentally, the next day, May 26th, I'm surrounded on the square by sheriff's deputies, arrested, not told what I was being arrested for until they got me to the jail. There, I was hit with the affidavit that I was on or before May 8th. I put the Lynches in fear of their life with an AR-15 at their house. How could that be? When I purchased the AR-15 on May 20th. And I did so because I had a death threat made to me. The FBI stood by with their hands in the cookie jar, refusing to show any proof. I mean, they've got their own cyber crimes division. Surely, through the sit-down meeting that I had with them, they would be able to surely shed some light, because after all, wasn't Michael Flynn charged with lying to the FBI? So, therefore, where am I lying? Because if I was lying to the FBI about purchasing the AR-15 on May 20th, then where's the FBI right now to arrest me for lying to the FBI? Crickets. And it's because at this very time, the FBI was a politicized weapon. A politicized weapon that was documented in full detail with the disgusting, absolutely disgusting, illegal wiretapping campaign that they conducted on General Michael Flynn. No reason to actually ever wiretap the guy. And then when they charged him, they threatened that if he didn't plead guilty to something that he didn't commit, that they were going to come after his son. I mean, how disgusting and low down can you get? The FBI is causing more harm to society than they're causing good. Fact. They've turned into a politicized weapon that allows an innocent person to get framed, knowing that they had the proof. So I sit in jail from May 26th, get a bond hearing May 30th. Judge meets with the sheriff's investigator behind closed doors for about 10 minutes prior to coming out. I'm in an orange jumpsuit. She reads me the charge. I said, "Your Honor, I'd like to address the court." She said, "Mr. Reardon, you have the right to remain silent." And I said, "I know what my rights are. Damn it, I know what my rights are. Take a stand for them. But I don't choose to invoke it. In fact, right now, I choose to invoke my first, my freedom of speech." She wouldn't let me speak to address the court to show that the state had absolutely zero proof, zero evidence, and that I had 100% evidence of my innocence. Crooked. And even more crooked was that she had judged a $150,000 cash bond. For a $150,000 bond, it was written out in the Oxford Eagle, which we know how much credibility to pay to them. But I was given a $150,000 bond. It was already 2 days past the allotted window for me to actually get a bond hearing. You're only supposed to get 2 days. They made me sit in jail for 4. They did that with a goal in mind, because the mayor's election was June the 6th, exactly 7 days later. All right? Exactly 7 days later, the mayor would become elected in an unopposed race. She would become Oxford's 36th mayor. She would scathe through
without any political ramifications or anything backfiring in the process of her becoming elected. No roadblocks, no Mississippi patriot that stood for everything that she did, which is the Constitution. I had a crooked-ass attorney by the name of Brendan Horan. Didn't know at the time when he was hired to replace my public defender, which, matter of fact, the public defender did everything. I didn't even realize it. And Horan did absolutely nothing. Horan viciously destroyed me. Horan proved exactly why he doesn't need to be an attorney. He showed the direct harm that a conflict of interest can cause. He has me go ahead and sign off on a permanent restraining order, okay? Which, had I have actually read the restraining order the way it was written up, that was written up based on constitutionally protected activity such as running an aggressive internet campaign against Robin Tannehill, being a strong advocate of the Mississippi state flag, being arrested in front of the statue for holding the state flag May 1st of, calling corruption where it stood. What's wrong with the judge for even allowing that to even pass through? That directly harmed the integrity. Directly harmed the integrity of the court that day. And it showed that judges, especially in this liberal hypocrisy of a city, they go down partisan lines, and it's all a favor-driven system. I only did that. I only signed that bogus thing, which I didn't even read the report. I was just given the permanent restraining order page to sign off on with him. Did that because he told me it would make this sham shit go away. Nope, it didn't. Sure didn't. Guys, it is raining, so I'm going to take you with me. Oh. Bear with me a second. Yo, these are crimes against humanity that have been committed, especially with how far they took it. And it's no different than a Hillary Clinton Democrat scandal. The mayor was elected on June 6th, unopposed. They had me away, they had me silenced, because I was in jail. Couldn't post bond. And on, I think it was June 29th or June 28th, it was the last Thursday in June, Tannehill was sworn into office as Oxford's 36th mayor. Coincidentally enough, the following Thursday, 7 days later, a plea deal comes down the hopper. And I'm told that if I don't take it, that they're going to throw the book at me. They're going to hit me with a heap of other charges, all in order to get a guaranteed conviction, to get me gone one way or the other. And my attorney said, while he knew that, without a doubt, that I was innocent of the crime which I was charged, that it didn't matter, and the system wanted you, they were gonna figure out a way to make it happen. That's why this whole time with Riding with the Outlaw, it has been so important to me to publish my discoveries. Because honestly, at the end of the day, that is the only thing that is out there protecting me. Because if it were up to these people, the agencies involved, the agencies tasked with preventing public corruption, with preventing corruption in law enforcement agencies, it all would have been swept under the table. That's what they were doing the entire time. They were obstructing. U.S. Attorney's Office, over 6 weeks' time, called them many times, leaving a voicemail, because my statute of limitations was running out for me to show, without a shadow's doubt, without any reasonable doubt, that I couldn't have possibly committed the crime in question. U.S. Attorney's Office refused to even call me or look at the heap of evidence that I had. A whole chest of evidence. I mean, literally, it was every single thing. Just about every element proven at that point. The U.S. Attorney's Office wouldn't even look at it. FBI, nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. But is that really a surprise? So I did a public records request for the 302, which is the investigative report that was produced after a sit-down meeting with the FBI. Okay, anytime FBI agents meet with a citizen, they have to put that information, log that information into what is called a 302. It's like a formal police report. I put in the FOIA request with the FBI. They have a 20-day window to comply. I even put an expedite request on there. Because my statute of limitations was running out. It's, I don't know, a month, at least a month past the expiration date, and the FBI is still yet to even open my file to assign it a number. Through several calls, I've been led to believe, both through talking to the local field branch office in Oxford, Mississippi, as well as speaking with the Jackson headquarters, as well as speaking with their main headquarters, wherever it's at, Virginia, wherever, that they cannot locate my 302. Wanted to know a description of the agents that I met with. Like, that's supposed to be somehow my responsibility to keep up with. During an absolute crazy time in my life, and an even crazier time of being framed for a crime I couldn't have committed. And now I'm led to believe that the 302, that would prove exactly everything that was discussed at that meeting, has grown 2 legs and just hopped and skipped off. And the funny, ironic thing, it's not funny. It's ironic, and it's freaking sickening, is that if it came down to somebody's ability to purchase a gun, and even if it was bogus information in their system, because it was political, you can bet your ass that they wouldn't lose that 302 if it prevented somebody from making a gun purchase. But an innocent American who's a Trump supporter, which the FBI hated at that time, and they still do. Then it's, let's just forget about his 302. He doesn't matter. We're going to let the system swallow him whole. Guess what? Shit ain't happening, Jack. Not without one hell of a battle royale going down over my rights. Especially when I've unearthed everything that I've unearthed over the last 3 months. They clearly didn't care about it backfiring on them. And they didn't care because they were so well banded together. They had everybody in the local government protecting each other's ass on this. Executive branch, legislative branch, judicial branch, attorneys. Oh, and there's some other key actors as well. So here's the thing. I've been asking for that May 24th phone call for the past month and a half, when I found out through a public records request that Sheriff's Investigator Jared Bundren received a mystery phone call on May 24th, 2017. I brought my reporting to the Sheriff's Department to seek answers, steadily requesting this May 24th phone call, recorded phone call, information about the call, who's on it, who made the call. It's very important. They would not comply. They've gaffed it off from the beginning. Jared Bundren, hey, I'm here to show you how to conduct a proper investigation. I would like to, do you have a minute? You don't? You received a call on May 24th, 2017. I would like the details of that call. Jared, I put in a public records request. Why are y'all not complying with the public records request? Sheriff Joey East, I would have loved to have said okay with him. I didn't want to have any problems with the sheriff. Joey East! How you doing, sir? I needed to get a little Q&A with you. You don't do Q&As? Well, can you answer a few questions for me?
No, I can't.
Why is the county not wanting to comply on the public records request? You told me.
I'll have to ask the county.
You told me that if I submitted it, y'all would comply. That was the last time that we spoke.
I told you we'd look at it.
You said no. You said that we'll comply. You said submit it and we'll comply. Why haven't I gotten? Why haven't I gotten the? Really, Sheriff, is this really the position you're going to take? Why won't you even answer that? Look, hey, y'all will not respond to anything. Any email, any public records request, anything. I want to know why. I'm holding our county officials accountable for this. You know I was framed. We've already had that discussion, Joey. You know I was framed. Huh? That was one of your ringleaders right there. You know that y'all coerced me. Y'all coerced me under stress and used my daughter.
I did?
Yeah, y'all twisted. No, the Tannehills did, is who really did it.
Did you plead guilty?
I followed the sham advice. Okay, well, hey, why are y'all trying to protect? Who are you trying to protect? Is it that there's no call that came in, or is it that there's somebody like Robin Tannehill or Ray Tannehill that's on that call? I want to know.
Did you plead guilty?
Who's on the call?
Did you have an attorney?
Who's on the call? Was there a call or was there not a call? It was on the police report that I got from May 3rd.
Hey, I just saw that. So I had my mic muted on StreamYards. Um, no, I was saying I got my laptop back. Did not get the iPhone back. Don't know what happened to it. I know it was hell on earth for me to regain access to my accounts because that was the main two factor. I actually lost this channel, which is exposing the tyrants, which before that was Patriot News Activism, and before that was Lafayette County Audit. While it was Lafayette County Audit, it was on an upswing, big upswing, and that was the only way into um, my YouTube account because of two factor. So at least I got the laptop. You know, I was definitely hampered with that, just like I'm hampered now. You know, I want to take a second to touch on what's going on with the U.S. Marshals situation. How is it that so they've seized my equipment? You know, they I'm pretty sure they broke the gimbal. I know the tripod was shattered. The 4K camera was on top of the tripod, so it's I'm sure destroyed. Because the tripod was, and I, you know, the U.S. attorney has told my attorney. I mean, my attorney has made it clear that they have to get a search warrant to go into it because I'm a journalist. I have the government's just not privy to my sources as a journalist, and on top of that, the whole event was live streamed. So that phone contains no evidentiary value to the government, and the U.S. attorney has already indicated they're not going to seek a search warrant on it. But yet they still have my equipment, my Samsung phone, my camera. They could have just taken the freaking SD card out of the 4K camera, but instead they want to hold on to it and keep me uh, just completely hindered as a journalist. I have the iPhone, which I had to you know, my only phone now is my iPhone. I had to fight to get that back, which the federal judge luckily um, told them to turn that over. So yeah, it's a big scandal going on.
30th. Whatever medicine you're off, I think you need to go
Really?
medicine or something.
Really?
I don't understand what you're talking about.
The response of the sheriff.
Plead guilty.
The response of the sheriff. But you know, it's this personal to me when it comes to my rights that I took an oath to our country to uphold and defend. From everything that I've gathered, and from the way that these corrupt
And by the way,
actors
for those
are
on
acting,
here, I'm also live on the Exposing the
opinion.
Tyrants YouTube channel.
that the
Make
masked
sure
actor
if you haven't gone over and subscribed to
made
it
that
yet,
phone
subscribe to it. Those
May
on
24th,
Exposing the Tyrants. If you haven't
after
subscribed to
following
We the
the
People News
executive
yet,
office
subscribe there.
over there. And it is my opinion that the motive of that was a backup contingency plan, which also saw major benefits to four parties in general. First party, Timmy Pruitt and the Lafayette County Sheriff's Department. This was all conjured up plan to get that problem out of their way. They have to worry about a lawsuit for an unconstitutional arrest made. Unconstitutional arrest.
Hey, the Vigilance Committee, you said drop the links. So if you look right there in the chat, the Nightbot, I have the Nightbot right there set up to periodically drop the links. So you have one of them that has the Cash App and the link tree. The link tree has all the different donation methods, has all, I mean, has a lot of important links. The second one has, it's got my Cash App and it's got my link tree as well.
They slid the problem out of the way for the mayor to get elected June 6th. They got the problem out of the way with Frank and Marley's.
Us as a community, we do need to get together and try to figure out our problem resolution here.
Okay, I got you. I'll let me repost it
to our society, and he's going to be a problem.
Damn. Hey, the Vigilance Committee, I don't think it's allowing me to post any links. Even me. So I got to figure out what to do to change that.
Mark my words.
To help a mother of a 2-year-old child ultimately get the father out of the way, but not his money out. They made sure to go ahead and take care of taking a withholding order out for $600 a month, every month. It was held from my income, my residual income.
Gotcha.
From the years prior,
All right.
and paid to her every month. So she got the money and she got the child. She played a huge part in setting this up for the other ringleaders. These people are criminal. They should be charged, and they should see the inside of a prison cell. Without a doubt. Public corruption stemming from any government position where that person is working in an official capacity for the government, the local government. I think any public corruption stemming from that, especially the framing of an innocent person, especially for furtherance of a political mission, I can't think of anything more deserving of a charge of treason and of a punishment warranting capital punishment because of the peace, dignity, and integrity of the state and the government, which was severely taken a hatchet to and very likely may never fully recover from. I talked to the county attorney, David O'Donnell, about the county's willful and contumacious disregard for my public records request and producing that call that I have every right to know. There was never a discovery motion done in my case. Never a discovery motion done in my case. I was never indicted. I pled out to an information-only crime. I was not afforded due process. My rights as a citizen were slaughtered. But to seriously go to every extent to frame an innocent man and cover up the evidence, to make him sign a covenant to not sue Lafayette County, the Sheriff's Department, the City of Oxford, the elected officials, its employees, by way of removing their liability. And I'd like to see them argue that. How do you argue the facts? Every single bit of what I just stated were the facts. Quid pro quo. Everybody wins. This one loses everything. I told y'all in the beginning that this was likely going to be a modern day David versus Goliath. And that's what it's turned out to be. I didn't realize that this corruption would grow to such a heinous and disgusting level where agencies are covering up, are hiding proof that would exonerate an innocent man that was framed. But it was part of their plan from the beginning. They just picked the wrong guy to pull it on. And I'll finish it off with this, because I said I was going to address this topic. Trickle-down corruption. It's an existential issue. Because with trickle-down corruption, see, everybody has somebody a step up. A ringleader, you could call it. That ultimately is pulling the puppet strings. This city, this county are being torn right down the middle in a moral dilemma because they're having to choose between upholding and defending the Constitution, abiding by the oath that they took, or adhering to the rules of their supervisors. Unconstitutional, lawless rules that are passed that unfortunately these officers are having to choose between good and evil. If they don't follow the demands set by their supervisors, by their higher-ups, they face punishment, losing their job, suspension. So trickle-down corruption, it's a problem that needs to be stomped out, or else it's going to be the downfall of our society, I'm telling you.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI.
Big news here.
started to surface at some of the highest levels.
It's been an eventful day today. There are a bunch of college-age kids over on the south side, right in front of the Confederate statue, holding signs wanting to take the statue down. But not one of them could give a reason as to why. When I first got out here, they were standing right next to City Hall on the steps or whatever. They were actually the first group that I walked up to. As an independent journalist today, of course, it's not hard to know what side of the fence I stand on when it comes to the state flag.
Outlaw Matt Reardon returns to Oxford after nearly 3 years to investigate, document, and ultimately vindicate himself. Matt Reardon was unlawfully arrested and illegally confined on May 26, 2017, until July 6, when he was coerced under extreme stress to plea out to a crime he never committed and couldn't possibly have committed in order to see and ultimately get his daughter back into his life. To add insult to injury, in what seemed like an unreal and unimaginable nightmare, a mandatory part of his involuntary plea involved being banished from the city and county for the term of his probation, 5 years, and signing a covenant to not sue the sheriff's department, the city, the county, any officers involved, any city or county elected official, or any city or county employee. They thought they had every angle tied up. One big problem for them. Actually, two. First, Matt got off probation at halftime, just 2.5 years. The second, being the county opening the door, giving him every legitimate reason to legally bypass the covenant to not sue, when even more corruption started to surface at some of the highest levels, including the county and sheriff's department, refusing to comply with a Public Records Freedom of Information Act request, after the sheriff's department admitted in the last batch of documents requested that Deputy Jared Bundren had received a mystery phone call on May 24, 2017, just 2 days before Reardon was ambushed on the square in Oxford, Mississippi, and arrested by 4 sheriff's investigators, including Bundren. Not long into his discovery phase, he realizes that there is much more involvement in this plot. The FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office refused to get involved and have refused to look at any evidence. Maybe that's because they played a big part in this scandal even happening in the first place. It became increasingly evident when the FBI completely refused to comply with a public records request to produce an investigative report called a 302, which would have been generated from a sit-down meeting Reardon had with 2 agents on May 25, 2017. Reardon took the advisement of an assistant U.S. attorney and sat down with the 2 agents at the local field branch office in Oxford, Mississippi on May 25, 2017. It is during this meeting where Reardon shows proof of a death threat being made on him and further proving Reardon's innocence in the all-out attack on Reardon and his rights the very next day. It is during this meeting also that Reardon discusses how he purchased an AR-15 for self-defense on May 20th, 2017, and he also discussed how his First Amendment rights were brutally attacked due to a cheap shot injunction taken out by the soon-to-be mayor-elect and her husband, essentially barring him from addressing City Hall on the day of the election June 6, 2017, which he was already listed on the published agenda for. Since that time, the FBI has sat back taking a silent approach, even making reference to the fact that they could not locate the 302 investigative report, which would accurately show everything, along with any surveillance gathered from that meeting. In trying to combat trickle-down corruption, which he names as one of the biggest threats to society, Oxford outlaw Matt Reardon bravely continues to get closer and closer to the fire as he finds more and more government involvement and pushback from the same ones that plotted to frame him, silence him, get rid of him, and ultimately destroy his life back in 2017. It's a race against the clock, and Matt is a man on a mission in an all-out war on corruption to reclaim his rights and his life, which were so brutally destroyed by the careless, selfish, and shocking corrupt acts of this local government and the ones who assisted in helping to cover everything up.
In new news, American Airlines employees are now allowed to wear Black Lives Matter pins. How does that sit with you? A society is taking a hard left turn. You've got Goodyear that will not let employees wear Make America Great Again hats because, of course, President Donald Trump branded Make America Great Again, MAGA. But what is wrong with the saying, Make America Great Again? As such, with seemingly everything, a hypocritical standard. You've got companies that ban products such as Make America Great Again hats, while you've got companies that are allowing and possibly even promoting the wearing of leftist propaganda such as Black Lives Matter. What's next? It's the next question we have to ask ourselves. There's $1 million question. What's next? Who's next? Political correctness. That became a highlight issue with the media and, of course, continuously echoed by Obama. All of a sudden, it was a priority to be politically correct. Well, it became such a priority several years back during the Obama era to be politically correct. I decided I was going to take a hard turn. And anti-political correctness was the agenda. I don't sugarcoat things. Firm believer, if you don't like what I say, turn the channel. But if you do like what I say, please share it. What good does it do to keep it suppressed like the fake news media, like the Oxford Eagle? Horrible. The Daily Mississippian? Horrible. Like the Local Voice? Horrible. WREG, WMC, WTVA, horrible, horrible, horrible. No matter what, you see all the dumb shit that they put on the news every day. I mean, just some of the stupidest things that catch the attention of the news. But, alright. My name is Matt Reardon. I am the Oxford Outlaw. You ever get that feeling? You feel like impending doom has been casted upon you. I had that feeling just a few days ago. Reached out to a friend of mine, whom, by the way, is an attorney. Unfortunately, not the type of attorney that can help me out with my case as shown on Riding with the Outlaw. I knew what all risk I was undertaking when I decided it was time, beyond time actually, to come out with my story and even producing all the evidence to corroborate everything that I had said. In fact, I never realized all the additional corruption and evidence I'd find just over the last 3 months, but I'll tell you, it's astonishing. So I asked my friend if he could check Delta Computer Systems for me, because I just had a hunch. Keep in mind, after 18 to 19 police reports being filed over a period of 5 years.
from my ex, Phyllis Crowder, Lizzie Crowder. Then it was Liz Crowder. Now it might be Lizzie Kester. It was once Lizzie Miller and Lizzie Hartline. Sure didn't do a good job finding out everything I needed to know. To know that this girl would stop at nothing to flip my life upside down. She used me to get a kid. No sooner than she got her kid, it has just been rotten to the core, on a mission to inflict as much hurt and as much untrustworthiness. And she played a crucial role in what happened to me back in 2017. See, her attorney for the original child custody matter was none other than Ray Tannehill. For those that have been following along, you know that Ray is the husband of Oxford Mayor, as I've said several times, the illegitimate 36th mayor of Oxford, Robin Tannehill. Ray and I have gone back, we've gone back for quite some time, clashing. In fact, 2017 would be the third time that him and I had a dealing with each other directly. And it had been a game of cat and mouse, tit for tat. Last time I saw him, I met him in conflict prior to 2017 was in 2016. And this was the original child custody matter. We had a meeting. Well, we spoke on the phone probably a year before that. I went to him for some advice. Turned around and acted very unprofessional to me. Not as an attorney should act. If you look at the injunction they took out representing his wife, that they took out against me on May 22nd, 2017. You can see in the wording that he is not exactly a by-the-book type of guy. Most of the reasons that request on the injunctive relief were for constitutionally protected activity. In fact, there were even things said on the sworn affidavit that actually go to prove that my civil rights were indeed violated May 1st, and mentioning that on May 1st I was arrested standing on county property holding the state flag of Mississippi. Whether or not Ray and Robin know, through those sworn statements, they indeed strengthened my case and added more credibility to everything that I've been saying. So I would like to thank our illegitimate 36th mayor of Robin Tannehill and Ray for providing those sworn affidavits. Tell me how that broke any kind of law. I can tell you once again, the county grossly violated the civil rights of a Marine Corps veteran who actually wrote a blank check to our government exactly 10 years prior for an amount up to his life to uphold and defend our Constitution. And I can't think of a better reason that I had to stand out there. But I've got all the police reports, 19 police reports filed by Crowder over 5 years. None of them were proven to be true, legit, because all of them were ridiculous, cooked up lies to try to build a paper trail. And I would have known absolutely nothing about these had I not have had that hunch to do a public records request to get them. Most of them trying to claim that I was actually stalking her with a drone from a long distance. And while I did have a drone that was capable of flying 3 miles away, that's in prime conditions, meaning no trees, just no obstructions. Around here, you might, on that drone, you might get 1.5 miles, maybe. Fact is, there was absolutely no way I could have been flying a drone anywhere around. Never was even in the area. I actually abided by their bullshit banishment order that barred me from entering Lafayette County and Oxford for the term of my supervised probation, which was 5 years. Big problem. Oops. Gets off of probation in half time, 2.5 years, back in February. I'm at Olive Branch Municipal Court. This has been a long-awaited process, a long-awaited trial right here. The first of many getting to the bottom of this shit that's been just dumped in my lap. My ex, the mother of my 6-year-old child, who has manipulated the courts, who has lied non-stop. Has filed fake and frivolous accusations in the past, has kept my child away from me since January of this year, so 8 months in now, grotesquely defying a judge's visitation order, and honestly taking full advantage of the fact of COVID, as well as me being completely burdened with legal fight procedures. So this right here, back in November of 2018, she put a false rape accusation against me, of all things. And I didn't find out about that until a couple of months later. And that was a shock. I was at work whenever I got a call, and I voluntarily went up there and spoke with the detective. And it was enough evidence that they not only dismissed the accusation, but they turned around and they filed charges on her for filing a false report. So in the title of this live stream, and I gotta get back into the courthouse. In the title of this live stream, I said that I'm pushing for 2 different reforms. And they're needed. They're common sense, okay? One of them is the way that the law looks at false reports, filing false reports, making false accusations. Because until the law is changed on that, which I 100% intend on advocating for, 100%, it should be a no-brainer that if you falsely accuse somebody of a crime, that you should be charged with an equivalent type of charge. Meaning, if you accuse somebody of a crime that is a felon, accuse somebody of a crime that they could potentially go to jail for the rest of their life, prison, that it could literally destroy their lives on an accusation. Well, I think that it should be common sense that if it's proven that that person made a false report, filed false charges, it should be common sense that that person
be charged with a felony. To charge somebody with a misdemeanor for making a false report, a false accusation, it's not fitting. It's far from fitting. It's far from fair. Because had I had been in Oxford and this all had gone down, as I've said from the beginning, would have immediately judged me guilty. There's also, I think, when it comes to chancery matters, when you have one party that just grossly goes in contempt of the judge's orders, intentionally violates the agreement, especially to prevent access to a parent. In my case, I haven't seen my 6-year-old daughter now for 8 months. And at that age, they are so influenceable. So much happens. And there's so much that I will never be able to get back. And meanwhile, Liz Crowder and her attorney, Christy McCoy, are going to undoubtedly try to paint me as some type of crazed monster when it wasn't even me that brought the charges against her. It was the Olive Branch Police Department. For her decision to drive down, have sex with me after Thanksgiving of 2018, after sending dirty pictures and talking about everything that she did, to then take my child on, it was my visitation weekend when I had her, take my child out of my house while I'm asleep, drive back to Oxford from Olive Branch. I wake up at like 3 in the morning, child's gone. She gets caught. See, I don't know if she was married at the time or if she was just with the guy. She got caught in the bullshit coming up there to Olive Branch, doing what she did. And she drove back up to Olive Branch 5 days later, goes to the hospital and cries foul with false rape accusation. I just got prepped pretty much for what was coming. What I already knew, because it's really their only shot at offense, is to try to make me look crazy. They're going to try to take everything that I've done with riding with the outlaw, even though I've produced evidence. It's not just hearsay, it's actually evidence that I've produced. And they're going to try to make me out to be a crazy person. And I don't understand how Christy McCoy is a victim advocate attorney, gets state funding from the state of Mississippi to defend victims. Yet she's representing somebody that's creating victims through her lies. If they would have been successful with this, there's a great preponderance that I would have been shanked over the disgusting, heinous, hideous accusations that her client has made over the last few years. trying to get me permanently out of the life of my child. But she's keeping my money, $600 a month. They got a withholding order on that back when all the bullshit happened back in 2017. So yeah, I'm angry. Because no matter how this goes today, justice is not going to prevail. Justice will not be served. No matter what way it goes today, undoubtedly, I'm going to leave the courtroom mad, feeling like what should have happened what should have happened didn't happen, because there's no way that it can, so long as it's looked at as a misdemeanor and not a felony. You cannot get away with accusing somebody of a felonious crime and expect that a slap on the wrist misdemeanor is going to deter future similar occurrences. And I've seen this rule on the books I've seen this law on the books with other states, and it makes sense that the charge is aggravated or elevated to that of a felony if it is a felony that's accused. There's no way somebody that falsely accuses somebody of a crime such as rape, there's no way a slap on the wrist, $500 fine, have a nice day is going to fix that. But what will? I get a guilty verdict today out of this courtroom, I can assure you, I'm going to do everything in my power to bringing civil causes, defamation, slander, abusive process. Those are 3 good civil charges to rack up on her. Matt Reardon, Oxford Outlaw. I gotta get in the courtroom. See ya. I'm in DeSoto County today, Olive Branch. Came down here for the trial of Liz Crowder. She was charged by Olive Branch Police Department for making a false report, or alleging falsely reporting a crime when in November, I think November 29th, 2018, she falsely accused me of raping her in once again, an extended witch hunt. Something that was conjured up. I actually learned new stuff today. New stuff like Liz had, that night when she was over, she made sure to completely photo document my house as part of a ongoing plan to get my daughter stripped from me. The prosecutor actually said, asked me that. He was like, did you know that she had taken photos galore of your house before she left that night? Look, I didn't charge her with this crime. Olive Branch Police Department charged her with this crime. She's always got some liberal attorney coming to her defense, trying to paint me out as a damn monster. And that was no different today. I was wanting to take it to trial. I was wanting them not to take any deal whatsoever. In fact, the first question out of my mouth was, are they pleading NOLO? Or is NOLO an option for them to plead? Because see, nolo contendo, or contender, it's ultimately guilty. It's no admission of guilt. It's you know, find me guilty, judge, but I'm not going to admit guilt. And originally, that was not an option. I didn't want it to be an option. Their whole entire playbook of plays. Christy McCoy, defense attorney, which I knew what she was up to from the beginning, since I heard the words Christy McCoy when it came to her being Liz's defense attorney. So, their whole plan was to get me on the stand and to rattle me one way or the other. So, the prosecutor actually recommended that I don't even take the stand because their whole goal was to try to piss me off in light of everything going on. It's completely unfair. It's been nothing but just a conspired upon witch hunt this entire time. It has been a liberal witch hunt. So the sergeant, or the Olive Branch Police Department, Sergeant Holiday, is the one that took the initial report and interrogated me. I guess interrogated Liz. She was about to deliver a bombshell testimony, which there's no way, I don't see any way that she could have been found innocent. I was advised that the call recordings could not be admitted as evidence, at least at this stage, because of my background in productions. It could not be 100% validated without having a professional examine the recordings to know if they were edited, doctored, any of that. I guess I understand that, but they weren't doctored. They came straight from Ring Central, doing it to it being a foiled plan, and also at that same time admitted that her husband, Dustin Kester, played a big part in all of that. I don't know of anything else that could have been inferred. I didn't think, I literally had to spell everything out. The city asked for the maximum on that as far as penalty. She pled out nolo in the whole little crosstalk before the judge. Her attorney stated some garbage that I've had a lot going on over the last 3 years. There's all this stuff going on in Oxford that, you know, basically what she was trying to tell the judge is that I was crazy. It's her damn client. Liz played a significant role in everything that happened to me in 2017. Significant. You know, I don't think that everything would have happened without Ray Tannehill's involvement, and I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have happened without Liz's involvement. She had her fingers in everything. Manipulation, conjuring, conniving to falsely accuse the father of her child of a sickening crime, and somebody that's as sick as her, the only way they're going to learn is through a serious charge, is through spending some time behind bars. She's kept my child from me since January. Meanwhile, I'm paying $600 a month in child support.
Christy McCoy playing games in disguise, talking about justice but you back in the lies. System on your side but the people see through every bar that I drop. Got a spotlight on you. You was holding that title like a badge of pride. Victim's advocate name but the truth got denied. Courtroom politics, strings get pulled. Meanwhile real pain out here getting ignored. Funded by the feds, that's the stage you choose. But the ones who need hope, they the ones that lose. I'm calling out your name so the world can decide. Christy McCoy, no place left to hide. Christy McCoy playing games in disguise, talking about justice but you back in the lies. System on your side but the people see through every ball that I drop. Got a spotlight on you. Christy McCoy playing games in disguise, talking about justice but you back in the lies. System on your side but the people see through every ball that I drop. Got a spotlight on you. You step in the scene, but the story don't match. Say you fighting for the weak, but the record's attached. It's a cycle of control, yeah, the same old spin. Keep the power in your hands while the truth wears thin. This a name on the mic, I don't whisper or bend. Not a rumor or a game, this a message I send. You can follow on my page, try to clap back too, but the louder that you talk, the more it shows through. Christy McCoy playing games in disguise, talking about justice but you back in the lies. System on your side but the people see through every ball that I drop. Got a spotlight on you. Christy McCoy playing games in disguise, talking about justice but you back in the lies. System on your side but the people see through every ball that I drop. Got a spotlight on you. You a chapter in the book of a system corrupt, claiming titles and awards but the work don't add up. I'm the voice of the ones that the courts left behind. Put your name in the light, let the world redefine. This ain't slander, this the truth in a beat. Every rhyme cut deep, bring receipts to the street. Christy McCoy, yeah, the mask been torn, and the world gon' remember what your name been worn. Christy McCoy playing games in disguise, talking about justice but you back in the lies. System on your side but the people see through every ball that I drop. Got a spotlight on you. Christy McCoy playing games in disguise, talking about justice but you back in the lies. System on your side but the people see through every ball that I drop. Got a spotlight on you.
Operation Silence the Press.
So you're turning in live for National Fuck the U.S. Marshals Day. We the People News.
Kidnapped quick, no warrant, no case. Camera smashed out, tripod in my face. First Amendment written, they erased, but the court said Cohen already placed. Hey! Operation Silence the Press, they plotted, they guessed, but the truth don't rest. It beats in my chest, from Cohen and Cali to Lafayette stress. Rights don't vanish cause the marshals press. Broke my gear, try to kill my breath. Shackle me cold, start me near death, but the voice survives and I stand confessed. I expose what they fear. Silence the press. August 25th, courthouse stone. Sign in my hands, I stood alone. Words from the past, Cohen's tone. Fuck the marshals, carved in bone. Hated news and badge with a snarl. Threatened my cam, said seize it all. I stepped back slow, obeyed the call. Then he lung slammed hard, I fall. Tripod cracked, my gimbal broke. Camera crushed and the government choked. First Amendment, bled in the smoke, but the record stands. I spoke. Operation Silence the Press, they plotted, they guessed, but the truth don't rest. It beats in my chest, from Cohen and Cali to Lafayette stress. Rights don't vanish cause the marshals press. Broke my gear, try to kill my breath. Shackle me cold, start me near death, but the voice survives and I stand confessed. I expose what they fear. Silence the press. Dragged to a cell, chest punched tight, couldn't breathe deep, heart raced all night, knock his arm back just to fight for air. Now he screams assault while I'm gasping there. I take slow, no sirens near, paramedics mock, no mercy here. Hospital cold, the truth unclear, delay in the jail, they jeered. Pastor Olivier, cuff cut bone. I asked what's the charge, he had none shown, just a hold for the feds, my rights dethroned. That's kidnapping law in a danger zone. 40 pages black, lies in disguise. I for yeah, hit the scheme, but the scars don't lie. Laugh all you want, but the tape don't die. Operation failed, truth multiplies. Jailhouse freezing, blanket torn, no food served, constitution scorned, wrist bones twisted, pain reborn, but the fight lit brighter in the darkest storm. This ain't 30 days, this is principle strong. 54 years, the court said wrong. One man's lyric, another man's song, and I spit that truth in a world gone wrong. Cross state plots, they stitch and weave. Oxford to Galveston, tricks deceive, but you can't erase what the people believe. The first don't fade when the liars grieve. Operation Silence the Press, they plotted, they guessed, but the truth don't rest. It beats in my chest, from Cohen and Cali to Lafayette stress. Rights don't vanish cause the marshal's press. Broke my gear, tried to kill my breath. Shackled me cold, starved me near death, but the voice survives and I stand confessed. I expose what they fear. Silence the press.
Operation Silence the Press.